growing up, I had a very interesting childhood because the two sides of the family were very segregated. One side of the family, the other. They didn't intermingle very often. And the way I had to show up with each side of the family, I was allowed to be more myself with one side, but the other side I had to be much more closed off, because it was a very children are to be seen and not heard type of situation. And just, I don't know, there was always reprimands going around and how people were showing up, and there's a lot of negative talk within one side of the family that was very prominent, and it was voiced openly so everyone could hear. And all that negative talk about others within the own family was very, ow, fuck, random crack. All of that negative talk within the family was freaking all that negative talk within the family was so much to carry, so much weight to carry, that I put on, that I was like, okay, you gotta show up this way, you gotta show up this way, you gotta show up that way. And it was weird how these close people could show up in such a manner. And I really questioned, like, it was very hard for me to enjoy being on that side of the family. Really didn't want to be with that side of the family, would avoid that side of the family, just because of all the negativity that would always be prevalent in those family gatherings, and how much more I was able to be myself with the other side of the family. Not so closed off and just, okay, I'm just gonna stay here prim and proper, because yeah, that's what we do. And that was tough to deal with. That was to have these two versions and how we show up, and then just questioning how these close people that are supposed to be close, these family members, and how you would think there'd be love and care and consideration, but there's all this negativity, and they say saying it because they love them, and it's like, but you're talking down in such a negative way about these people. That's not love. Like, that's really not. That's a very skewed view to love, and it's like you want them to show up in the way you want them to, and it was like trying to mold everyone to behave the way a certain ideal. And it was like, no, it was so disgusting is the right word to say. It was very disgusting. And it's been very tough to separate from that and heal from the shit that I observed, experienced, everything from both sides of the family, just as the way things occurred and the way it was okay to be and show up. And my masking was intense during this entire process, because, you know, I don't know what's going on. I'm undiagnosed. I'm just freaking trying to figure out what's going on in the world. And there's a lot of weight for me to carry and figure out and navigate, in seeing how much I allowed these other family members throughout the web, the tree, whatever you want to say, influencing who I am and how I was showing up, because it was what they deemed was appropriate, and how I embodied all these certain things, and then learning to forgive and be like, no, I don't need to embody this just because they say so. That doesn't make it true. And just, I remember constantly fighting that my entire life, and being able to show up and see, like, no, I don't need to accept this. That's their reality. That's not my reality. I've had to do this with so many people beyond the family. Just allow people to have their reality and still show up as me. Know who I am. Know my authentic self. And I came back to myself by releasing all these versions of me that people held, and that I held within, that I needed to show up as with these people. Because I didn't need to carry that anymore. There's nothing wrong with me being my authentic self. I'm not doing anything to hurt anyone else. So I was able to come back to self and embrace myself. And if everyone doesn't like it, then that's fine. That's not my responsibility. I'm not carrying that load anymore. I'm free of that. And it's been a very heavy lesson to learn, but it's been such a wonderful lesson to learn, and to come back to who I am, which is me.